All right, welcome to Humpdays.
Welcome back. Today we have the hottest realtor in Texas.
Well, hello. Thank you.
Kaylee Romantic.
You haven't met many realtors, have you?
No, we have.
We have.
Well, I am curious about that. Like, is it a rule in order to get your real estate license here in Austin that you have to be at least an 8?
Yeah, no, they do. Well, I remember I had a girlfriend that worked at Twin Peaks. They just stole, the regimen they did there. You have to get in line. They check head to toe. You gotta be on point, otherwise you can't sell shit. That's just how it goes.
Well, I think real estate is it's like the new hot girl profession. Like back in the day, it used to be flight attendants.
Yeah.
Then the sexy nurses.
Yeah.
And now it's like the dawning age of the real estate agent.
You know where we begin, right? And that's bottle service.
Bottle service.
You do bottle service, and then when you age out, you have to become a real estate agent.
Well, you worked at one of the coolest bars in Scottsdale.
Right.
Yes.
And it kind of it lost its.
We went there for
We went there,
Bachelorette.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
It was a bar where
wasn't
you
there
could toss
anymore.
midgets.
Yeah, I don't know if that's PC now, but yes, you could toss them for sure. What is it, Gilligan's or something like that?
Yeah, it was Gilligan's.
Yeah.
That's the one that you were at?
Yeah.
Or- yeah.
I've been there before, maybe consumed a little bit too much, and I was curious if my beer bottle, which was a 40 ounce, was too big or if the people were too small. I was really confused about what was going on, so I think I left after an hour because I just felt like Alice in Wonderland.
Did you get to toss one?
I didn't. I don't think I was as strong as I am now.
Did you witness
so,
them being tossed?
I didn't. I just saw them kind of cruising around, and I was just comparing my beer again. Like, what? Yeah.
Where did I go?
Yeah. Where am I?
Well, we went there for our bachelorette party, and you told us hey, go to this place. They have midgets, and you can toss them. So there was a group of us. There's 8 of us. So one by one, we asked the bouncer. I was like, hey, is there midgets here? And he's like, no. And the next person asked, and the next person asked. And finally, towards the end, the bouncer just stands up and looks at the line and is just like, there's no midgets here.
That's
Whoever's
what you came
here,
for. Get out.
There's no midgets for you to throw here.
I know for sure that I asked, and then Alejandro asked, and then you asked.
I think times changed. I remember another bar that I think it was Thursdays was their thing, and every Thursday you'd go there, and they had midget wrestling, so they brought in a full ring,
my God.
and people could take turns. Yeah, it was a nightmare. I don't think they do that anymore. Now they just employ girls with no pants, and that's it.
America has fallen.
Yeah.
Damn it.
But back to being hot, it's not necessarily all that it's cracked up to be. You told me that you were walking down the street and a guy whipped out his dick at you.
Oh yeah, which time? I think the story I told you was I was with Stacy, my business partner, and we had gone to Esther's Follies for a comedy show for real estate agents, so it wasn't really funny. It was other agents trying to be funny, and it wasn't. But I think one of our close friends was shitting on the brokerage that we worked on, so we were like, nah, we're out of here. So we left early, a little buzzed at 3 in the afternoon on a Tuesday, because that's what life in real estate is. And a guy just popped out of the bushes and had it in hand. He said, "Surprise, bitch!" And he just shook it around, and we were like, "Oh God!"
That's what he wanted.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know where you came from. Friday night would be a better night for you on Dirty 6th Street. You might actually close the deal, but for me, I'm gonna pass.
Was it a coat?
No, he was just naked.
Oh,
he was just ready, just in the bush, waiting for an unsuspecting victim. But we went into a firehouse, which I always wanted to do, and I was like, "Help! I saw a dick!" And they were like, "Wait, what?" And they all ran out, ready to strip their shirts off, kick some ass, and I was like, "None of you are hot." Okay, yeah, he's over there. We're gonna go to happy hour at Eddie V's. Thank you.
Yeah. Go hose down that
They were
hose.
competing to rescue you.
Yeah. And then I got to Eddie V's, which was a nice establishment, and sat at the bar, and I was like, "Everyone, you'll never guess the dick I saw." And it was a bunch of old dudes, what? Yeah, so that was a good one.
That's crazy.
Yeah, one of many stories.
Well, when you came to our show, there was a comedian that went up, and he literally was so stunned that he stopped full spot and just pointed at you and said, "You're hot." And I was like, what is this life like?
I think that happened at 2 of your shows.
Yeah, it's interesting because they didn't even have a riff. They're just "You're hot," and they just lost. And it's all right, that's my time.
I think it's just man brain though, just one track mind, just and then they move on to something
you
else.
must be the expert of man brain. You must have these experiences.
I'm trying. My nickname in college was Romantic because I've been trying to dissect this man brain for so long. I think I finally figured it out. So it's kind of now. You just move on. You're like, can expect it to happen. And they're like, okay, cool. I'm glad you got that out of your system. Now we can continue to be normal people.
Yeah. Do you think it's them trying to, do they think they ever think it would work? Or do you think they're just like
Doesn't every
glitching?
man think it's going to work? Like, every man shoots their shot because you got to try, right? And I think it doesn't help that I'm like a nice, charismatic person. So they're like, oh my God, she likes me. And I'm like, I literally just asked you how you were. I actually just asked you if you could move the fuck out of my way at the bar, but I did it nicely. So now you think I have a crush on you.
Yeah, you don't have the resting bitch face, so it's
well,
worse.
I do, though.
You can. I
think it's when I'm concentrating. It's not really like I'm trying to be a bitch. I just like, if I have resting bitch face, I'm probably really confused and trying to think about something.
Your resting bitch face is like what Cara Delevingne's like modeling pose is to like sell perfume.
Like, do you have any other moves? No.
What's the fastest way to get rid of or you had a stalker? How'd you get rid of them?
So that was a good one. So I had a guy sexually harassing me. Like, it's funny being a
Classic.
woman and you're like, this is funny. And it's like, that should be terrifying. But you're like, fuck it, whatever.
We're all coping.
I worked at my last brokerage. I got a call one day from a guy. I'm driving home from like Dallas or something. This guy calls and he's like, hey, are you Kaylee Romantic? I'm like, yeah, what's up? Like, who are you? And couldn't tell me who he was referred by, blah, blah, blah. So I felt a little sketched out. So I was like, why don't you give me your information? I'll give you a call back when I'm not driving, when I can sit down and focus. And he's like, all right, well, let me just tell you about my home fantasy before we hang up, and then we'll move on. And I'm like, no one says fantasy when talking about real estate. I've seen that movie online, and I know how this is going to go. So he tells me, and I'm like, okay, let's hear it. Let's just say the fantasy involves far more men than I ever want to be involved with in one sitting. So describes this whole thing in his new living room. I'm like, whoa, that does not sound fun for me.
Well,
he was trying to make it seem like he was going to sell the home.
Yeah. Apparently, if I'm in a gangbang, I can make some real estate deals.
I'm not
willing to go there yet.
What was his scenario?
No, literally a gangbang in the living room. His friends were going to take turns, and I was like, sounds like I'm going to be really tired. Do you have any water at this new house? Is there furniture? Are we just like laying a tarp out? Like, what's going on here? So that guy was terrifying. Yeah. And I had actually gotten that call right after my car had been stolen from my last apartment. And so I'd left drunkenly my keys in the door of my apartment. Someone came by, swiped them, stole my car. I had my real estate signs in the trunk of my car. And then I started getting these harassment calls. So I was like, oh my God, like this person knows where I live. They saw my sign. Now they're going to call me from their mom's basement every few days, breathe heavily into the phone. So I was terrified. Turns out, totally random man. And I almost got a little jealous because I found out that he was calling every woman on the roster of my old brokerage. And I was like, I thought it was special. I thought it was just all about me. And I'm like, but am I on the top of the list? Like, who do you dial first? And you know what? That guy still calls me. So if you're in your mom's basement and you see this, please leave me alone.
He is not going to.
But it's fun now because he's going to call more now. I'm like, damn it. The fun thing is, though, so I talked to like the head of APD a long time ago after this happened because I was like, I'm scared. And he was like, well, they like when you're scared. So just don't act scared. So now every time I answer, I literally am like, how's your tiny penis? Like, what's your mom's basement like? Is it moldy down there? Like, did she make you a sandwich after you made this phone call? Like, what's going on?
Are you aware that there's an insult kink?
Oh, well, if he's into that, shit. He's gonna start calling more. You can't segment these perverts out. They've all got something. I don't even know.
How do you get rid of them?
How do you get rid of them? I don't know. I don't think you do.
And then as soon as you do, a new batch come out.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you're gonna go ahead.
I need just like a big baseball bat or like, a couple tall giant boyfriends that I just bring around with me.
Yeah.
Figure it out. We'll see. Something intimidating. Take up jujitsu. I don't know.
No, they like that because that's just rolling around on the floor.
That's true. They're like, I've seen this on UFC. All the dudes put their balls on each other. I can do it too.
In the times that I've been harassed, when they're like, they go like, oh, feisty. And then it's like even more.
Yeah,
and then also I found, I don't know if this is the case. I think that I've gotten more harassment when I wear glasses. I don't know if you get that. Have you found that?
Again, those movies online, the secretary's always wearing glasses until she's not.
Yeah. Well, I've never seen
or only wearing glasses.
I don't know what it is.
Well, I've never seen one attractive secretary in my entire life. Like
Really?
librarian, secretary.
Don't exist.
It used to be.
Yeah.
It used to be. Mad Men?
Mad Men times.
Oh, that's true, yes.
Yeah.
The heels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you could employ someone just for being hot, now there's like HR and other bullshit you have to do.
Yeah.
And now they're like, let's make sure we don't get Me Too'd or accused of it in any way.
I don't want to get canceled.
They better be the least attractive. And nannies as well. Nannies, if you're not if you're an attractive nanny, I think it might actually be harder.
I think so. I think so. I mean, I've had friends who are attractive nannies, and like, there's always a conversation in some capacity of like, have you been hit on by the dad? Like,
has she?
Yeah. Not that I know of. They were nannies a long time ago. I think, again, before the Me Too movement. So maybe, I don't know, they didn't say anything or didn't want to. But no, I don't know.
That could be a low-key nag. Like, if you're ever into nagging girls, like, yo, you're so pretty, you could be a nanny.
You could be a receptionist.
So
So how do you deal with like slamming them down, I guess, or like getting them out of your plate? I think you just have to start ignoring them.
Okay. And then for a minute, they'll kind of like ramp up more, and then they eventually fall off. Because, everyone gets tired. Like, men they can do things, sorry, no offense. They can do things for, maybe a couple days at most, and then like, on to the next one, back on Tinder. Just like, all right, next victim.
What's the most like insane offer you've been given right off the bat? Like, once a guy told me he'd buy me a house, like, within minutes of
Why didn't you let him... Do you want another house? Because I know someone who can spend some money on. Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah, I think you always have, like,
the weirdos who, like, offer to, like... Oh, this just happened recently.
Okay.
So, weird guy hops in my DMs, and he's like, hey, I really want to meet you. I think we'd get along really well. I want to fly you out to my place in LA. And I'm like... Who the fuck are you, first of all? And it's like a private profile, but you could tell like the tiny thumbnail of his face is like some hot dude he probably like took a photo from, and it's like surely not him.
Mm-hmm. Or it's a family.
Right. And so I'm like, oh, like, no thanks, I've got a boyfriend. And he's like, ooh, not a husband. Like, cool. I'm like, well, I'm also in the middle of a divorce, so I've got a husband and a boyfriend, but I'm very busy. I've got it all. And so he keeps going on, and I'm like, dude, no. I block him, whatever. My mom, 2 days later, gets a DM, and she sends me a screenshot, and she's like, hey, this guy said he wants permission to fly you out to LA because he would really like to take you on a date. And I'm like,
he called your mom?
This bro found my mom on Instagram and sent her a DM, and she's like laughing, and I'm like, dude, that's not funny. Like, that's scary. I was like, block him, and she's like, do you want to go to LA? I'm like, no.
That's like the
crazy.
Creepy guy trying to be traditional. I know. I'll ask her mom.
Yeah. That'll do it. That'll make
It's always like the traditional stuff that's the creepiest. Like, I've told you that story before about the terrible date I went on that like ended up with like a letter and like flowers on my doorstep.
Yes.
And he tried to like wax seal the letter with like candle wax, so it was just like greasy, and like I still have it. It's fantastic, but
and
that's why you don't. I guess that's why women these days don't let men pick them up. They're like, no, I'll meet you at a bar. Like, please don't know where I live. Like, I don't want weird shit on my doorstep.
What did the letter say? It's like, dearest Kaylee, my loins burned since our last date. It's been a fortnight since we last spoke.
No, it literally was like, I know that date was terrible, but I was so distracted by you. Please give me another chance. And I was just like, no.
You don't get a second chance with Kaylee Romantic.
You showed up on my doorstep with a bottle of Chardonnay and a bottle of Jack when we were supposed to go to dinner. So I don't know what we thought was going to happen here. But thank you for stocking my bar, and we're moving on.
You weren't impressed by a bottle of Jack?
I mean, a bottle of Jack at the time. I was in my 20s, so I was like, ooh. Save me $20.
That's true.
And a massive hangover. But like, now I'm like, please don't give me Jack Daniels. I'll puke immediately.
Do you live in a little bit of constant fear all the time then?
I would like to say that I did, but I think I'm so ignorant about it. Like, my mom's always like, do you see people stare at you? I'm like, no, ew, they're staring. Or
they
like,
do.
Just like, you just don't look by.
They do.
The only time I will say I pay attention to that is like, if I am walking with like a dude I'm dating, I'll like walk in front. I'm like, see these heads turning? You're very lucky.
Yeah. No, it even happened at our wedding.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, the photographer cannot take photos of this lady. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I had a low top on. It's not their fault.
She gets one photo. It's our day.
I mean, we've all had like creeps hit on us, but it's just like it's shocking how like we'll walk and it's just like they're just like
it's blonde hair. It's always blonde hair. It's just like an easy target.
Well, I mean, no, but I meant when like you I mean, like, I don't get that. Like, I mean, I still get creepers, but I get approached. I'm not like trying to shit on myself, but it's just like next level when you're there. It's like they're just like, ooh, like it's crazy.
Yeah, good thing like 6th Street closes down because people would walk into traffic.
I'll take that.
That's why it's there.
Blocking traffic on 6th Street is just the homeless guy who was another one who had his penis out at me.
I noticed like, hey, the homeless
homeless
people here are jacked. Like,
Yeah.
we'll be driving down 6th Street and like there'll be like a naked homeless guy with like D'Angelo abs. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, Rebecca, don't look.
Avert your eyes. It's kind of hot. Don't look at his face.
Yeah, don't look at his face.
So, but actually, how big were they? Do you remember?
These penises?
Yeah.
Oh, they were large. They
Yeah,
were.
what's
They
going
were like
on with
scary
these
big.
crazy homeless
I mean, don't they know they could get into the porn industry and be making not that much money, but more money than they're making now?
That's true.
No,
That's
the
true.
guy on 6th Street was literally like one of the windshield wiper guys.
Yeah.
And I was on the phone and I was like, no. And then I look over and it was just like on my window.
Oh
and I was
my
like, ah! I was on the
That's
phone with someone else. I was like, a dick. And they were like, what? And I was like, it's on my window. And they're like, where are you?
Every
What
Tuesday.
is going on?
That's wild. Like guys like literally shoot their shot.
Literally shoot their shot. Ew.
It was like here. They're just like presenting.
He was
Like-
trying to make a reason to need to clean the windshield.
Yeah, like
Like we know that men are that way, so when you are looking to attract a guy, you have to, as a woman, like it sucks, but you have to be like always presenting. You have to
Oh, yeah.
always be
Oh, yeah.
like, it's all about that. Whereas women, like it's just the opposite, and so it's just so funny that they approach it that way
Yeah,
too, thinking
yeah.
it'll like.
For women,
flatter
it's like
you.
the less a man talks to me, the more you're like, hello?
Yeah.
Can I have some attention? For men, you just like breathe and they're like, what's up? Did you say my name? No, I don't know your
Wanna
name.
see my dick?
I have no idea. Wait, yeah.
I have a lot of pictures of
The
it,
wind blew
and I
and I'm
can
like,
whip it out.
Gross.
Speaking of your schmishmosh, how long did it take?
well, actually, yeah, I was wondering about that because I saw an episode like recently of like How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
And it, like there's this episode where like the main character Ted, like there's this girl
love
that Ted. Have you seen the show?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. So there's this episode where like Ted, like there's this girl that he really liked, but she's always in a relationship. Like
Yeah.
every time she broke up, like a guy would just like swoop in and like date her. And he's like, oh, it just never aligned. But then it turns out like as soon as she broke up, there was like 9 guys just trying to
Yeah.
like just get in there. So like when you were going through a breakup, your divorce, how soon did guys start sliding in your DMs?
Really quickly. People have like no emotional ties to
That's what I
mean,
thought.
I wasn't married for very long, but people are like, what's up? And I'm like, wait, I announced this yesterday.
Yeah, it's just like so I was
What's
just
going on?
it's like I was just thinking about it and you're already there.
Yeah.
I didn't even like. Did any come in before the announcement?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still technically not even done yet, but
Yeah.
not before the announcement. I think some people still, believe in the sanctity of marriage, but like the day after you announce it, they're like, hey, are you hungry?
Oh, I feel
Wanna
so
go to
sorry.
Uchi? I'm like, well, kinda.
All of your male friends
Are you okay?
coming out of the woodwork.
Do you need
Yeah.
a shoulder to cry on? I'm like, no, I know what a shoulder is, sir.
What would you say if you had to give guys advice? How long is an ideal time frame to
Well,
wait?
see, that's the tough thing, like you're saying, because someone will swoop in and
Yeah.
someone will ultimately be successful.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, you can't wait too long.
Yeah, you're getting dicks thrown at you on the
Yeah,
street.
you're like, I think you have to understand their journey. Like, are you already emotionally healed or are you a train wreck? Because if you swoop in when she's a train wreck, then you're just a weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If she's like chilling and she's good, then I don't know, a couple weeks.
Yeah?
Yeah. Until she finds a new place to live.
That's true. So you're saying so it would be best to wait till she posts a photo of her just out with her girlfriends looking hot.
Thirst traps, yeah.
Thirst traps.
yeah.
So when the
That's-
thirst traps
that's
come
the
out,
defining moment.
then
Yeah.
and then
I think that's exactly how it worked for me. I went
Yeah.
to Miami and they were like, all right, it's time. She's in a bikini by the pool. Go!
That was a great shot.
Hey, thank you.
That was
Yeah.
a great shot. That's when I knew too. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
good.
That's
She's
when everyone's
ready.
like, something's going on, but no one would ask. And then later you announce it. They're like, I knew it. I had this discussion weeks ago with my friends. I'm like, why didn't you just ask? Like, have you ever known me to not be honest? Like, I'll tell you more than you want to know about literally anything. Yeah.
So how did you meet your current boyfriend?
So he was a friend of a friend. And we were friends for now. That's how it always works, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't think we would end up together, like by
You
any
didn't?
means. He's
You
like,
didn't?
no, well, he's like the bachelor in our group, right?
Yeah.
So he, I met multiple women he was hanging out with and stuff, and it was always just like a fun thing. And then too many fireballs later, I think we played pool or something, and we're like, oh,
Oh, we're making eyes.
okay. Yeah, works well. So that is what it is.
And it was just like at a mutual event.
Yeah, it was our buddy's birthday party, 40th birthday party. So, you know, everybody went home drunk, and I lived down the street, and he was like, want to play pool? I'm like, yeah. And then we went, and then, you know, I think we kissed that night, and then I was like, and I ran away, and I proceeded to do this multiple times until we actually started dating. I just get so nervous. I'm like, I'm leaving, and he's like, what? I'm so confused. Like, what's going on? Okay, all right, yeah, maybe I gave her too many fireballs. I don't know, but yeah, I finally stopped running away. We've leveled up, and now I'm always like, what are you doing? Want me to come over? He's like, oh God, I miss those days.
No, she's
Why,
here all
she's
the
always
time.
here.
Oh, I'm not sure he's excited. So have you always been able to avoid the apps then? Have you ever had to?
You know,
go on
I've
an
never
app?
done an app.
That is how hot she is, ladies and gentlemen.
But I'm also the type
level.
of person that, like, if I see a guy who's hot at a bar or something, I'll just walk up to them and be like, hey,
Nice.
like, what's going on? I'll mostly be like, buy me a tequila shot. But if they refuse, I'm like, all right, what's your name?
Yeah. well, those
Whatever.
take all my money.
All right, I'll take the second option. Yeah.
Well, those apps should probably pay you because like every guy would just upgrade on all the apps just so they could message you first.
So I didn't realize that was a thing until recently. And when I started dating my boyfriend, before we were like exclusive or whatever, he was like, yeah, I paused the paid version of my apps. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I don't even know what that is. And then I learned about this tactic, and I'm like, these companies are brilliant. Like, what a brilliant, like, oh, are you feeling like down on yourself and you really want to talk to this hot girl? Like, give me $4 and you can do it. Like, it's like, and how many people are doing that? Like, you've got to feel very important when you, because like, do you get an alert as a woman to know that like this person paid money to message you, or is it just like?
No, I don't think you know.
It's anonymous. Okay.
Or I don't know. Is there? I don't think
I've never paid.
I know nothing. You can,
I've never paid.
I don't
I've never had to pay.
I've never had to pay either. Although they did target me too to pay, which is weird. Like I thought they would only target men, but they target women too. They would always be like, you can you can get more swipes or something. And I was like, why would I want more?
See who's liked you.
Oh, see who's liked you.
Yeah. See,
If you make a mistake, like if you accidentally swipe left or right, then I'm like, to pay to redo it.
Oh.
That I can see.
That seems
why
like a
that would work.
But
I
was drunk and I forgot which way to go.
I know.
I have to pay you money.
Could have missed a great person.
Yeah.
Just by
I do want to like.
I'm happy though.
Thank you.
Everything's fine. I always want to like play on my friends' things and just see, because like, you know, everybody's dating profile is like bullshit. Like they're like, I love movies, and it's like they've never watched a movie in their life. Or like, I work out 6 times a week, and it's like, you're severely overweight. Like we know that's not true. Yeah. But it's always funny. Like they have to put together these profiles. You have to like sell yourself, and then you go to meet them, and it's like boring as hell. Like don't look like their picture. Yeah. Into some weird shit that you're like, why did you lie? And now you've wasted everybody's time.
I feel like a lot of people would assume you were a catfish too. I wonder if that would work against you.
I don't know. Maybe we should try it. We should do like a social experiment.
They'll still do it though. They'll still do it. The men need help with their photos and everything.
Well, catfish is probably just use your photo. Like let's be honest. There's like some
there probably is someone. There's
some guy using your profile.
Yeah,
just get
thousands of dollars.
Good luck for him, and I would like a percentage of whatever he makes scamming people. Just mail me a check, and you can use my photo for whatever you need. It's fine.
Real estate's been going well for you, though. That's
it's
exciting.
Pretty good,
you were on a show recently,
right?
I
did House Hunters. That was a good time. I never thought I could check TV off my bucket list. I didn't even know I wanted to be on TV. But when someone, says, when you're at happy hour, would you like to be on TV? You say yes. Yeah. I remember I was getting Botox, and my lady was like, wait, I have to try really hard now. I was like, were you not trying really hard before? Like, what's going on?
She was just bitter you're so pretty. Like, fuck this bitch.
Shit. I'm like, my eyes drooping. I'm like, it's fine. No, when I also went on House Hunters with like 2 extremely hot people themselves. So it was like, we got to filming and they're like, wait, are you here for House Hunters? And we're like, yeah. And they're like, oh, okay. I just thought maybe you're in the wrong place. Normally it's someone in like a frumpy sweater that they've had from like 1992. And I'm like, that's what you chose to wear on TV then. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, have you watched House Hunters?
Not a lot of episodes. I just watched yours. So
292 seasons or something like that. Yeah.
So your episode did well then?
I don't know. It's on reruns now, so that's exciting.
That's cool.
Well, if you want to just look in the camera and say what episode and season you're on, there's going to be a lot of guys that'll watch it.
I'm going to have to Google that and get back to you. I think it's called Room for 5 in Austin, which doesn't sound like a name for a house show. It sounds like something else. And I'm like, really, that's what we wanted to name it.
Yeah,
Okay,
well, they
then,
probably used your photo that says room for 5, and you're like, just bugging it.
So when you go to the late night TV and it turns into something else, and you're like waiting for that, like, oh, okay. Yeah, that was a good experience though, but I'll have to share pictures because I think they would definitely use my client's photo over mine because she is like banging body. You're just like, what?
Yeah, she is
like,
too.
like,
That's
oh,
right. Yeah, that was a good. Well, that was really fun to see you on the big screen. I feel like it makes sense. It was supernatural.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Well, it was one of those things where I'm like, I'm nervous in front of the camera. I'm like, wait, no, I'm not. I'm ready. Yeah, and I didn't even have to drink before I went on, so that was great. Like normally I'm like champagne or something before a photo shoot, but good to go.
Are you sober today?
Well, I don't know. You have a breathalyzer? No, I'm sober today. I'm sober today.
Yeah,
I got some Red Bull in me.
Well, then I think you're just natural in front of the camera. Then
yeah, I'm surprised I'm not brain dead after last week with like 6 days of binge drinking with my family. So that's why I'm sober today. Like, I've had enough.
Yeah, coming off the end of Thanksgiving too.
Yeah, just full and bloated and exhausted. Drank a whole handle of Fireball, but everything's fine.
That's your. I like how that's your go-to drink, just Fireball. Like,
I don't know when this happened, but now it's become like I drink Coors Banquet and Fireball, and that's it.
Really?
And an occasional dirty martini if I'm like, at a nice establishment.
Oh my god! Because that's like everyone's horrific experience typically, and then they never go back. Did you just never had a bad experience with it?
With Fireball? Not yet. I mean,
nice.
No, my horrific experience was. Did you ever have Rumple Mints?
No.
Oh, we've never had
mints.
It tastes like if you swallowed toothpaste, or if you just like drank mouthwash. But in college, this was like a big thing. This was like everybody did Rumple Mints. It was like a super high alcohol content, so everyone's like 20, 21, like I want to get drunk. So I remember it was my 21st birthday.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of friends who worked at the bars, so I went out. And they all decided to give me Rumple Mints as my free shot, which I'm like, okay, at the time, I'm like 95 pounds. Like, you're probably going to kill me. And so I remember I was friends with this guy I worked with. I was a server at a restaurant. And I got so drunk that I just texted him, help. And then I stopped responding. And then he's like, text me, like, where are you? Like, do you need help? Where are you? He went to every bar on Mill Avenue because he knew that's where I went out looking for me. Finds me dancing on a table, just like living my best life. He's like, why did you text me help? I've been looking for hours for you. And I'm like, what? I text you that? Takes me home, drops me off. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to bed now. And they're like, okay, but Kaylee, like you're in your laundry basket. Like that's not your bed. And I had taken my sheets off to like wash. So I put them in my laundry basket.
Oh, that's so good of you.
Yeah. And so like, then I thought that was my bed. And it was like one of those like circular like tall ones, so I just like kind of dumped it over and like shimmied in. So him
into the tube?
Yeah. Aww. Him and my best friend were like, I had locked the doors too, so him and my best friend like picked the lock, come in, they're like, dude, come on. I stand up and I start. Okay, I left out a small part. I was completely naked. I stand up and I start sprinting around the house like full energy as soon as they try and catch me, and I'm like, you'll never catch me. I'm the drunkest lady. And they're like chasing me around the house. And that's the last time I had.
They're like pretending to try to stop you. They're
I also live with one girl.
They're pretending to catch you. Oh, yeah. It's running with their phone. Oh, no.
We're going to make some money on this one. I also lived with like my best friend and 3 dudes. So I'm sure it was a sight to see. They're like, oh, there she goes again. That's why I didn't have to pay rent that year. No, just kidding.
What's the biggest perk you would say about being hot?
I don't think I exercise my hot rights as much as I should. Like, I hate when people buy me stuff. It makes me really uncomfortable because, like, I've worked since I was 16, all but, like, 3 months during COVID or something like that. And so, like, I'm, like, independent woman. Like, I don't like people to give me things.
Sure, yeah.
Like, my boyfriend, for instance, when we were just friends, we all went to a strip club for my friend's birthday. Yeah. And he was giving all the girls money. And I was so drunk. He's like, you want some money? I was like, I don't need your money. I make my own money. And he's like, all right. So I think my mentality is always that. So I don't know. I don't like to take handouts. But maybe that changes. Maybe I just let people buy me shit. I mean, if you have that guy's information that wanted to buy a house.
Yeah, I know. That was stupid.
I would like someone to buy me a house.
Oh my God. Imagine I'll be like, I'll just like swap you. Like he won't know he's too drunk, and then like you just go like, well, absolutely. I mean, I know exactly where to buy.
$1 million than
and these are them.
Yeah.
And these are the ones that are available now. And
I've already toured
this
them.
one.
Here's a video. I got the contract ready to go. Yeah.
You can definitely take part of the, sales.
That was like in my bottle
flip
service days. I think that was the only time I was maybe semi-good at manipulating people for money. But, you always get the dude that's like, oh, can you drink with me? And I'm like, I'm not allowed to drink liquor, but I'm allowed to drink champagne. And they're like, all right, like, here, I'll get you a...
Is that a rule?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't think you're supposed to drink at all, but, if you're making money, you're making money.
Yeah.
So they'd always be like, oh, I'll get you, like, this bottle. I'm like, oh, $50 bottle? Like, do you think I'm not classy? Like, am I not good enough? They'd be like, oh, all right, I'll get you a bottle of Veuve. I think it was like $300-$400. And I'm like, ooh, I'm allergic to Veuve. But Dom Perignon or Ace of Spades are really good for me. There's like $1,000 bottles. Otherwise, I'm like, do you really want me to drink with you, though? We'd have so much fun. I'm like, fuck it, all right. And then I'm like, also, I'm going to need, there's 20% for tip. But, like, that goes to all the girls. And, like, you really enjoyed drinking champagne with me, right? I just put a little on top. And it's like, it all went to the same place. And that was the only time I was good at it. But then I'd go home and, like, couldn't sleep at night. So I was like, oh, my God, there's starving children, like, all over the world. And that guy just spent, like, $5,000 on, like, 2 bottles of champagne. I used to do that. Like, I was really philanthropic in college. And I worked at, like, this place called Humpdays. And it was for kids who, like, aged out of the foster system. So we'd feed them and all that stuff. I'd do a big fundraiser every year. And in bars where people are just throwing cash. And I'd be like, can you throw like $10 for the children? They're like, fuck no. But then they get like a $500 bottle of champagne. I'm like, what is this world I'm living in? Like, I couldn't handle it. So I eventually had to quit. Not for that alone, but also because I wanted to wear pants to work. So I do that now. Big jump for me.
Yes. So you've got a good heart, a great sense of humor.
I'm trying my best out here.
Gorgeous. So have you ever used a filter?
Oh, yeah. Every day.
You do?
Oh, yeah. Every video I post on Instagram on my stories, Paris filter all day.
Oh, well, Paris.
Oh, my God.
Paris isn't.
Like Facetune.
Paris isn't a filter.
Get the fuck out of my house.
Paris is the bare minimum for all of us.
Yeah. Get a nice little glove, though. No, because I think I know when people use, like, Facetune and stuff, and you can call it out, and, like, everybody knows now. So I'm like, I don't really.
Do you have any insecurities?
Oh, I have so many. Yeah.
Really?
Do you want my therapist number? Because I talk to him regularly.
Just give one to have regular girls feel good about themselves.
One. Yeah, the listeners have one.
No, my poor boyfriend right now is having to go through this. I don't know. It's so funny you're building me up. I have like low self-esteem. Like I'm always like, I'm always like, I don't know. Like I don't know why that is. But I know it's really fucking annoying to my partner.
Because you're carrying the guilt.
He's like just like, what the fuck? No, but I think in most relationships I've ever had in my life, I've always been like I'll cook for you, I'll clean for you. I'm like this, like I can do anything, and like you need me. And then I met someone and I'm like, oh, you're like really good at everything, and you're like super cute, and like I bring nothing to the table, and like who am I? And then like all this stuff. He like dropped something the other day. Sorry. Like his ex-wife has like her PhD, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing dating a real estate agent? Like you were with a woman with a fucking PhD, and I'm like, he's like, yeah, no, that doesn't.
Yeah, but men
Plus, like guys never care what a woman does. Like it just does not matter. Like it's not like the opposite where like a woman cares, like you have to do. Like guys, it just doesn't matter.
They're gonna feel better about being able to do more.
Yeah,
they don't
that's
want
true. I'm not trying to soak that up because now I'm like, it's weird to be like constantly taken care of. I'm like, oh, what do you mean you like can cook me food every night?
And also PhDs, we know they're broke as fuck. Okay,
that's
like
true. That's
realtors
true.
actually make money, you guys.
That's
so
true.
That's something you gotta remember.
But yeah, no, I'm working on that. I'm working
PhD
on
in gender studies.
Broke.
Yeah, no. I actually had a big insecurity after your trip. We took a photo, and it was like a weird angle, and I looked like I weighed like twice as much as I did, and I was like, I'm gonna burn it. Like I think I like cropped it, and then I was like,
but we've all been there. That's
you know what it is?
Freaking
if you have
everyone.
Boobs, if you have boobs and your arms get too close to your body.
Oh, did you get that on camera?
Sorry, wait, I've been tricked into that before, and I just did it to myself. So what do you do? Do what? Show me again. Oh my God. It just happened
That's great. I love that.
You'll never know.
What was the
that's
trick the
great.
guys used to do to get you to do that? There was like some gimmick they used to have.
Oh,
I don't know.
What was it like if your elbow, if you,
Oh,
no,
yeah,
if your elbows can touch behind your
Oh,
back?
yeah. Something
Like,
that.
I don't know. I'm thinner than I was
I don't know. I don't
then,
care.
so
What-
I didn't
what was it
get that
Kaylee,
kind of
with-
thing.
Oh, hold on, let me try it. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for
We
coming,
thought
Kaylee.
That
Lots
was
of fun.
amazing.
Very fun.
Yeah, very fun.
Love
Anything
to
you want to
embarrass
plug?
myself on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
No, I got nothing to plug unless you need a house.
Yes.
At Kaylee Romantic. Kay romantic like the word.
And that's
Real
your real name.
estate inquiries only. Oh yeah, that's another thing. That's your name. That's crazy.
I know,
It's
isn't
like
that
a
nuts?
stripper name almost.
I know.
Crazy.
Yeah, my middle name is Morgan, so everybody always jokes like Kaylee Morgan, like that would be like my favorite porn star's name, and I'm like, well, if real estate doesn't pan out, at least I've already got my name set up for my next my side hustle.
yeah, she's good. This is great to have you on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
thanks
you
for
so
having
much
us
for having
Yeah,
me.
you're the best. Thank you. Peace out, Humpdays.